Hi everybody and welcome to episode number 10 of JMC Jams. And today we're going to be talking about one of our newest initiatives that's launching in the spring semester, a Spanish language media and journalism minor. And with me today in the studio we have Assistant Professor Manel Palos-Pons, who is one of our newest faculty members in the journalism program, in fact the newest member of our faculty in journalism. And he has had an amazing career practicing and teaching journalism across the Spanish-speaking world. And he comes to us from San Diego, where he's been here for 3 years now and has been developing this new initiative, which is, it was a pretty cool thing. And we've been out there promoting it today. There's been food and there's been kind of lots of information and speakers outside of our 117 room. Just kind of trying to generate some interest. Anyway, let's see what Manel has to say and let's see how this conversation unfolds. So, hi Manel.
Hello, John.
It's good to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
And so, Manel, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? What's your background? What's your experience in all of this?
Okay, my background is a little bit complex. I was born in Spain. I was raised there in Spain, actually. And I went to college there in Spain. And in Spain, actually, I worked for several years as a journalist. I worked there for the El País newspaper. This is a very famous newspaper, very powerful newspaper in the Spanish-speaking world. And then at some point in my career there in Spain, I was still pretty young. I got this offer from Mexico City, so I decided to move from Spain to Mexico City. And then I spent several years there in Mexico City working as an editor. In Spain, I was working as a reporter for a newspaper. And in Mexico, I was working as an editor for a lifestyle magazine. And in Mexico, I was there for 8 years. Mexico is where I met my wife, I got married there and so forth. And at some point, when I was there in Mexico, I decided to go back to grad school. You know, I wanted to, because that was my other passion, you know. In my career, in my life, I had these two passions, these two professional passions. Journalism, you know, as a practical career, and academia, you know. So I've always been very interested in the relationship between media and politics, media and society, and things like that, media and culture, and things like that. So when I was in Mexico City, I decided to go back to grad school, at least to try, and I was accepted to start a PhD program in communication in UC San Diego. So I spent like 7 years there in UC San Diego, working on my thesis, my dissertation, and my field. My field, I can say this right now, is political communication. I've been working on Ecuador a lot, on the country as a case study about what is changing regarding the relationships between media and politics in Latin America, but I will say it's also in the world, you know, because many things that I found in Ecuador, I think apply to the United States. So in any case, I've been working a lot of Ecuador, I've been working a lot of Mexico these last years. I've been working also about comparing the United States and Spain in terms of media as well. And now here I've been teaching journalism and I've been teaching mass communication courses. So, and from day one, I think this was, you know, one thing that was required about my hiring process, so to speak, was that I needed to start this project, to start this minor, the Spanish language media and journalism minor. Yeah. And I was working on this since the first minute I arrived here in San Jose. And it was a long, complex process.
Yeah, because nothing goes quickly in academia, right? You know, you have this dream, this idea, but then we have to go through all of these different hoops in order to get it off the ground. And but it's well worth it because, I mean, the things you've been describing there about your journey before getting here, of course, are so important today. You know, over the last few episodes we've spoken about the importance of freedom of speech. We've talked about AI. We've talked about like, sort of all of these external influences on journalism and why journalism is so important these days, right? Particularly now, in the age of misinformation. And so this fits in really well. I mean, the work that you do in terms of understanding the relationships between media and politics, you know, and it covers more than just legacy media, correct?
Yeah, of course. One of my arguments in my scholarship, in my research, is that the distinction between mainstream media and alternative media, legacy media, new media, and so forth, that it doesn't make sense today, that distinction anymore.
No.
No, I think like 30% of the American audience is watching the news on YouTube. 44% are watching the news on cable television. So it's 30% on YouTube, 40% cable TV. So, you know, this distinction between legacy media, mainstream media, 40%, and 30%, is that 30% representing alternative media, new media? No, it's getting totally consolidated, and it's getting, you know, a new media system we're living right now.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And all of these things, of course, are all intertwined really with language, right?
Of course.
And so this is where you come in. I mean, I think we're building something here that's kind of making our programs much more attractive, because we're not just solely focusing on English expression. We're focusing on probably what is the most widely spoken language in California, certainly, and really, I mean, across the world, it's one of the most widely spoken languages, and of course it feels natural here in California as well, and that's Spanish, right? So the whole idea to bring up or to create a Spanish language focus to our journalism is really interesting, and it's really timely.
It makes sense here in California, because the first newspaper published here in California was called The Californian and El Californiano, I think, because it was bilingual. It was published in Monterrey here. I don't know, Monterrey is 1 hour driving from here. It was published in Monterrey, printed there in Monterrey in 1845, 1850 or something like that. And first years was in Spanish and English, because of the process, the historical process. Maybe this is not the place, you know, to have a conversation about that, the role of the Spanish language media, what happened to Spanish language in California in all these centuries or so, you know. Maybe it's too large, that conversation, no? But that gives you an idea. The first newspaper was bilingual.
Yeah.
So, and half of the population is Hispanic here. Roughly speaking, 40-something% of the population in the state is Hispanic. About 20% of the population, 15-20% of the population say, you know, in the polls and so forth, in the surveys, in the census, that they can speak Spanish.
Yeah.
So, you know, historically speaking, Spanish is a language that has been Californian from the very beginning, of course. And right now we have this huge population that has some kind of connection with the Spanish language. So it's totally, you know, it's a need, and it's totally, I would say this is a language of the land as English, you know, so.
Exactly, right? And so it matters to our students, it matters to the population they will serve, right? Once they become practicing journalists. And really something that's been missing, because our students, you know, they may be confident speaking and writing in Spanish, but they've not had the outlet really. You know, we've had a few forays into having our student media in Spanish, but to formalize it like this, I think is going to be a really good asset to what we have. And also because it goes beyond just attaching Spanish language to what we already do, because we're partnering with world languages.
Yes, we're partnering with world languages. Actually, this is something that I want to explain a little bit more. When I was working and doing some research on the minor, what was the situation, what was the state of the Spanish language here in the Bay Area, I was doing all this research with students and so forth. We find out in the process that one important part of the minor should be Spanish language itself, you know? Like we cannot design a minor in journalism in Spanish and that's it. We needed to design a minor that is offering how to do journalism in Spanish, and at the same time, how to improve the Spanish level, so to speak. Because we have a lot of students, you know, huge percentage of the population, they have this asset, okay, rough asset, so to speak. They know Spanish language. They know they can speak Spanish, but not at a professional level. So you can compete, for instance, with professionals from Latin America or from Europe, you know, that are able to speak Spanish, from Spain, from Mexico, from Colombia, from Argentina, okay? You have to be at the same level when you are working as a journalist. So basically, that was the reality, that we needed to, yes, of course, to deliver this knowledge, this practice on journalism in Spanish, but at the same time and that is why we partnered with World Languages Department, we needed to improve, we needed to offer opportunity for the students to improve the level of Spanish, to gain, to feel like more reassured, in their Spanish, to go step by step to reach that level of professionalism that we need, that news companies need for positions that are there available in the market.
And there are plenty.
Jobs. We had this speech, this conversation with students right now, 15 minutes ago, and I was basically summarizing, everything is there. We have jobs, okay? We have internships. We have a minor. We have courses. Everything is there. The only missing thing, the only missing component is students. So we need students. Once students are convinced, are there, step by step, little by little, okay? It's a process. It's not something that you're going to get instantly, okay? It's a process. Little by little, you're going to have a professional career. You're going to have a job, and you're going to have a higher salary, actually, because there are numbers of there. If you are bilingual, you're going to get 20% plus in your salary. So,
absolutely. And the two people you were kind of hinting at there are two executives at Telemundo, who
NBC.
We're partnering with, right?
Yeah, we're partnering with NBC.
Yeah, and that's a good relationship to have. One of the journalists is going to be working with us on the minor, teaching the broadcast side of
exactly.
Of the
and
minor.
with that one, it's update news in Spanish. It's going to be totally up to students to name the device, the show. Okay, it was called El Espartano Noticias, but maybe they don't like this name anymore. Whatever, So update news in Spanish. And in Update News in Spanish, I'm like putting a lot of interest. I've been talking with this person that is going to teach that one. That we want to teach television the way television is today. Okay.
Yeah.
Not just legacy television, news television, highbrow television, where basically you see these students being so static, delivering the news like this. That's not television anymore. That's part of the television that is done today, but we need also to teach other types of television, formats of television, digital television, and so forth, in Spanish, of course.
Of course.
But that's going to be their course.
Yeah.
And NBC, Telemundo, they're interested. And also I have connections in El País newspaper. So for those that are more interested in writing, they need people. It's the same thing. They need people from the United States, good writers. In Spanish, there are job positions there.
And El País isn't just in Madrid. It's also...
It's a global newspaper. It's like the New York Times in Spanish. So it's a very high level of professionalism in journalism.
Yeah. So this isn't just something that we've dreamed up, this minor. This is something that is rooted within a need within the community, a need within the industry, and we're making use of our industry connections, which are way up there, in order to make this happen, right? And also, of course, there's an element of Chicano studies in there.
Yeah, of course, because the better, this situation of the Spanish language, the better the Spanish language is represented in California, the more normalized the use of Spanish language is in California, so to speak, or the more bilingual, formally speaking and materially speaking, the state of California is, the better the representation is going to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
The more democratic the state is going to be. And that is a very clear intersection with Chicano studies. At the end of the day, they are very, interested in representation and all these aspects.
Exactly. And so this is an interesting part of the minor, which is the cultural understanding of the Spanish-speaking world. It's not just about delivering in Spanish. It's about understanding culture as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's different. Journalism in Spanish is a little bit different. I would say, something that I say to my students is that the American journalism is not the rule, it's the exception. If you compare American journalism, even with British journalism, it's different. So American journalism is pretty weird, so to speak, if you compare with the world, with the rest of the world. So it's not like, US is the rule and the rest of the world is the exception. Well, you can say that, of course, but it's mostly the opposite, no? But Spanish journalism is different. For instance, we have different genres and tags. Crónica, it's a very, very famous and popular genre in journalism in Spanish, either in Latin America or in Spain. Also, we have a name for future reporting. By future reporting, we have so many different types of future reporting. In Spanish, we have just a name that is reportaje, and that's it. Reportaje, we know, it's very clear the difference between reportaje and just the news. No? So we have different genres, different names, different history, but also we are going to offer this course on Spanish language media, an introduction to Spanish language media that is going to be more about history, is going to be more about media, culture, and in that course it's not going to be only about journalism. I'm going to teach that one. I'm going to teach it myself. Also, you know, I'm very interested about teaching about cinema in Spanish. Cinema in Mexico has a very amazing, fascinating history. Television in Latin America and Spain, and all these things. So it's, you know, the minor, of course, is journalism, okay, but it's also media, meaning that
it's broader.
Exactly.
It's much broader. And so everything is going to be launching in the spring. So open for registration now. So students who are interested in developing a new angle to their journalism careers or expertise skill set, then look out for these courses, which they do have the same prefixes, the journalism ones, but they will say S at the end of them, which is in Spanish. So, but then of course, once you start to get into the minor, then we need to look at the courses you need to take from world languages, and there may be students from world languages who are watching or listening to the podcast. Of course, you're open to
reach out to me. This is a camera. Reach out to me. Reach out to me, guys. I'm here. I'm available to you. Okay?
Yeah. And you are?
I'm Manel. Okay. Working here, assistant professor at the School of Journalism and Communication. Reach out if you are interested, you know, and you want to know more. We are here to help.
And you're here every day because I see you.
Yeah.
So, and that's a really good thing. So just come along, knock on Manel's door, and, you know, find out some more. Or my door, whatever. You know, we're always here to help you. We really want to make this a successful thing, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's, you know, everything is ready for you guys. There are jobs. It's a different world. It's a new world. You expand your horizons, so to speak. So.
Yeah, and of course on the back of like this minor, we've got other things happening. We spoke about the faculty-led program to Seville the other day. We're already planning a more journalism-focused one to Buenos Aires in Argentina, right? So that's going to be happening over like, sort of the next couple of years, attached to the minor maybe a little bit, and then maybe some others as well. So we're kind of expanding everything that we're doing in this field with the hope of also looking at how we can develop other of the major languages spoken in the Bay Area as well. So that's for the future. For now, I think we've got a really good opportunity here to engage and relate to our wider community and kind of expand that skill set and hopefully get lots of have a different angle to your future careers as well. So Manel, this has been great. We could talk forever about all of these things. Thank you for coming in and talking about this. And
Thank
let's
you for
hope
having
that
me.
in the spring there'll be lots of a whole load of new students to teach.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Manel. Until the next time, folks, which will be after Thanksgiving. Thank you for listening and watching, if you are, and tell your friends, and tell your friends about the minor. Okay. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.